Hi little berries, this is Eryberrie here and I am doing a collab at the moment with Dan from the Aspie World. Hello!
Hello, how's it going?
I am good, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm just trying to get technology to work is never a good thing.
I know, had nightmares just before this video trying to get everything to work, so hopefully, fingers crossed, it does work. Dan, I've seen your channel a lot. I watched, I think, your first ever video 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
And
4 years ago.
and I thought, this guy has nailed it. But I haven't seen all of your videos, I have to be honest. So if any of the questions that I've got for you, if I ever ask you a question which you've already answered, I really do apologise. But first of all, I'll just ask you 5 questions first of all. So how old were you when you were diagnosed with autism?
So I was diagnosed with autism when I was 26 years old, which is when you put it like that, it's like wow, shocking. But I've had loads of smaller diagnosis pieces ever since I was about. Well, I've been going to see psychologists and stuff, and since I was about maybe 5 or 6, maybe. So I've had like special education help in school, and my parents took me to see different doctors and stuff, and I've had like all kinds of stuff like short-term memory loss, agoraphobia, shyness, dyslexia, all this kind of stuff. You know, before the diagnosis of Asperger's syndrome. So.
Okay. It's I was a little bit older than you. I think I was 31, but I don't think anybody suspected it with me until it got to a point where I did. But what was your perception of autism before you were diagnosed?
Well, I didn't really have a perception of it. To be totally honest with you, I didn't know much about it. I mean, the only autism I'd seen is like Rain Man, and that's not really autism. I mean, that's kind of savantism. And so, to me, it was. I didn't know anything, and this is kind of the reason why I started the Aspie World, because as soon as we found out, like when I got the diagnosis, we went online and tried to Google stuff and tried to look for things, and we couldn't really find, apart from the National Autistic Society. I know a lot of people have some issues with them, but you know, fair play to them. They actually had a wealth of information that was actually very useful for me at the time. And then I did the videos, you know, to help kind of show people my point of view. But yeah, perception was like poor.
Yeah, I have. It's sometimes what you hear, and then you find out a little bit more about it. There's always something more to it than what you originally thought. What are your passions and obsessions?
Oh, okay. So my passions, I don't know, man. I'm passionate about a lot of things. Yeah, okay. So obsessions are different to passions, and so
Yeah.
I am passionate about making sure people are safe and well, and animals are safe and well. I love animals. I love
Yeah.
people. As much as I don't like to hang out with people, as weird as that sounds, I like making sure people are safe. I like making sure that the government run efficiently. I like making sure that the councils do their jobs. You know, and those things. I'm passionate about making sure that people have fair and equal opportunities, and I'm also passionate about the welfare of animals, taking care of animals, making sure that they're rescued okay, making sure that their welfare is taken care of. That's kind of what I'm passionate about, which is really weird. But I'm also passionate about. Like doing the best you can with whatever you do, and so like if you want to, if somebody is like growing up and they're like, oh, I want to be a screenplay writer, but they're sitting in a 9 to 5 office doing something stupid or stacking shelves, I'm like, what are you doing? I feel like giving them a shake. And it's kind of like that scene in Fight Club. I don't know if you've ever seen Fight Club, where
No.
Brad Pitt goes into Brad Pitt and Edward Norton. They go into. It's my favourite movie, by the way. This is what I'm quoting.
Oh, yeah.
They go into this like gas station or like 7-Eleven thing, dead late at night. It's like on the side of the road. Pull this Chinese cow, and he's like, Mr. like I don't know whatever his name is, Mr. Wong or whatever. He's like, what is your stereotypical kind of Asian name? He's like, what is your passion, Mr. Wong? And he's like, oh, I wanted to be a veterinarian. And he's like putting a gun to his head at the back of his mini mart thing. And he's like, well, why didn't you become a vet? And he's like, oh, the economy and all this stuff. And then Brad Pitt says to him, look, if you're not on your way to being a vet in the next 2 months, I'll come back here and shoot you. So he goes, run off home, because he took his driver's license and got his address, and he said, I'll kill you. So the idea of that was to tell this guy that stop getting bogged down with the I don't know, the weirdness of life, where life tells you that things are tangible and everything's going to last forever, because it doesn't. It's very much a fluid motion and nothing lasts forever, and so you have to strike while the iron's hot and do the things you need to do when you run out. So I'm passionate about that, and that's why I do a lot of, like when I do a lot of my talks, a lot of it's about using autism as a superpower rather than a disability. And my obsessions, I'm obsessed with aliens, UFOs, conspiracy theories. That sounds a bit weird. But that's kind of like my obsession base. I know a lot about that stuff, and this is really weird. Like everyone with autism has something that is like specifically their niche of like
Yeah.
So really morbid, but the 9/11 catastrophe of the United States of America is like my super. Like, I know everything. I mean, I've got every book, I've seen every documentary, met people, you know, like, yes, everything. So that's my thing. But at the moment, you know, as you know, like, obsessions, you come and go, different ones, and you know yourself, like, you get different ones. So my current one is search engine optimization. I just love search engine optimization. I know it sounds stupid, but
No, it doesn't.
But it's kind of like, I love systems. I like systems and how systems work. And search engine optimization is a system or systematic algorithmic hacking, which is, I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean, Matt. Some things may seem morbid. What you're interested in are really the facts. Like, recently, I had an obsession with rabies.
Oh, right, cool.
Because I wanted to find out a bit. It just flagged up on YouTube because I like watching documentaries, and the documentary was a girl who survived rabies, and I thought, wow. And then I found out how extremely rare for somebody to survive that condition, and then I found out a bit more about it and people who have contracted it in strange ways. So I don't know, it was just something I found interesting because I'm an aspiring scientist. I just found it interesting from that point of view. So I completely get where you're coming from.
What field of science?
I am studying earth science through the Open University. Unfortunately, I've had to defer this year for personal and health reasons, and I put a vlog up to that. But next year I'll be resuming that same module, and the Open University have actually retained my scores, so I won't have to do quite as much work. But I will have to really revise because the terminology is so advanced that Oxford Dictionary have actually created that. I'm not joking. It's that thick of geology terms.
It's because it's ever changing. Yeah, it's because it's like fresh and brand new. I suppose a lot of it as well, especially earth science. But I'm a scientist as well because I got a degree in chemistry.
Yeah.
I graduated last year. Almost a year ago to this date actually. So that was cool. But science is awesome, and stick at that, dude. It's awesome.
Excellent. Why did you decide to do YouTube?
So I decided to do YouTube because, and it's a great question. I was never into YouTube really like it is now. It's weird. Okay, so I started making videos on YouTube a long time ago, maybe 2006. I started uploading videos to YouTube because I was really into just creating content. I wanted to do something because I've been a musician for years, and I loved recording things on my phone and just making little videos together. So then this is way before the platform was monetizable, and so then I did that, and then I wasn't really into it because there was no standard, and I think that's what I wanted, systematic standard, you know, how to do something. And then I made a few videos when I had an operation and I was in a wheelchair for a little bit, and then I couldn't do much, but so I made some little, like, piece to camera vlogs, so I knew what. And this is back in 2008, so I knew how that kind of like format. You know, you record something, you put it up on YouTube, and it's kind of cool, and some people will comment, and that was cool. And I didn't do anything until the first video you've seen of mine, which is on the Aspie World channel. And basically, the knowledge I had from like previously making videos and just slamming them on YouTube, which was nowhere near being a YouTuber. That was just me, you know, making hobby videos and slamming them online. When I was searching for information on Asperger's syndrome, I couldn't find anything that didn't want to make me kill myself. And what I mean by that was that it was really depressing, really drab, and there was no spark in YouTube for people with neurodiversity. It was very much a serious concept. So what I wanted to do is talk about serious subjects that are difficult, personal and hard, but make it more accessible, entertaining, light and fluffy, so that people would be entertained by watching it and learn something. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I whenever I watch your videos, I always am really struck at how upbeat and positive it is, because I've seen, not naming anybody, seen some other autistic YouTubers, and I do this myself, guilty. A lot of people complain about it, and I complain a lot. I always say, neurotypicals, they don't understand us. There's all of this stuff out there, but I've seen some of your videos, and I like how you edit it together so it's nice and fast paced, because I kind of like that, but it's not too fast that I can't keep track of what you're saying, and I just think I get that too, and it's sometimes I just find it so refreshing, and you're able to cram so much information into such a short space of time, whereas I tend to ramble. So I watch your videos and think, why can't I be like this guy? No, he does it so much better than me.
No, it's not about that. I think it's to do with the experience as well. I mean, I've been on the platform now 4 years, and you know, I uploaded the first video of mine. I think it was something like June, July, or August 2000 and like, I don't know, was it 2014 maybe, and then I didn't upload anything for like a year or so because I left the video there and I didn't do anything with it. YouTube wasn't a thing for me then, it wasn't like this thing where I had this fan base. And so I went back into the account and I was like, wow, all these people requested more videos and they'd like signed up to subscribe, and I had like 1,000 subscribers in there, and I was like really taken by it. So I had to learn what does subscribers mean, what does, and I didn't know any of this stuff. But my partner Naomi, she was really into the YouTube scene, and I was kind of like, you'll understand this. Like, my focus is on my hobbies, on my thing, and I kind of ignore hers because it's not that I'm trying to be an asshole. It's just that, like, it's just it doesn't really interest me, and it never sticks. Nothing like that sticks.
Completely get that. Yeah, like I'm a writer, but my wife has never read my book. But that's because she's not really much of a reader. It's not really sort of her thing, and that's fine. I completely get it. Sorry, were you gonna?
Yeah. So basically, she was into YouTube, and so she knew what this meant. So I had her kind of like a coach, like telling me, well, this is what YouTubers are doing. This is how they do it, and this is all the stuff, and this is if you want to make more videos, this is how you do it. I was like, oh, okay. But then it kind of cracked open this egg, and I think in August 2015, I was like, man, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And you know what's weird? And to answer the question about you said like, why did I start YouTube? Well, one of the reasons when it came to this point, when I went back and checked the amount of subscribers I had and all this stuff, I was thinking to myself, like, what skills do you need to be a YouTuber? And then growing up, going through the education system with Asperger's syndrome, like I left school with only 2 GCSEs, and they were just C's, and they were GMVQs really, but they were in ICT, so I had 2 GMVQs in. They weren't really GCSEs, but they were equivalent of a GCSE.
Yeah.
So I had no GCSEs, but these 2 IT things. So then I had music performance, which was you didn't have any qualifications to do it in college, so I did that in college. And then I did e-media, which was like an advanced media course, which basically showed you how to build websites, code things, search engines, websites, graphics, and all that kind of stuff. And then that you didn't need any qualification, but what it did is it qualified me to being a videographer. So I did about 8 to 9 months of videography on a course. I quit because it was a bit too much. But and so all the stuff I'd learned, like what would you combine? Performing, videoing, and graphic design. Like what would that encompass? Well, YouTube is the perfect example. And so I was like, it was just a great experience for me to actually to put all the things I've learned into practice, and that's exactly what I did. So I love that. But funny you should say, my book. I released a book in November.
Yeah.
And I was so lucky to get a bestseller with it in the US, on the UK, on Amazon, which is crazy. And it's also in 2 different languages. My girlfriend still hasn't read it. She was the first one to buy a copy. She still hasn't read it.
Yeah, my wife did the same. As soon as my book went live, as soon as my editor emailed me and said, it's live, or no, I got an email from Amazon first. And I text my editor and said, you've just put it up. Oh my God. And the wife went, all right, well, I'm downloading it, but she still hasn't read it.
Well, that's the thing. I think it's too accessible for them.
Yeah, of course. So my last question on here is, how would you characterize your relationship with autism?
So my relationship with autism is that for years and years and years, because I didn't know it was autism, and even up until when I did know it was autism, for the first year or so, I was battling against this personality. I was battling against the fact, like, well, why can't I go to cities? Why can't I go to those big places and enjoy it? Why can't I go to these big gigs and enjoy the band's music that I like? Why do I like freak out and have these meltdowns? Because I was typical. In my mind, I didn't know any different. So my relationship for years was this like frustrated, stressed. I lost my hair to alopecia. I did a video on it. You can even see it's crazy. The video I show the bald spots and stuff. It's on YouTube somewhere. But I just had this horrible kind of relationship, because it was self-worth was zero, motivation was zero, because I wanted to do all these things, but I felt like shit, I can't do them because I've got this issue and I don't know what this issue is. Am I weird? And so for ages it was crap. But about 2 years ago, I changed. When I was writing my book, I was writing my books about philosophy and how you can improve your life through just different things. And when I was writing that, it was kind of, it made me realize all the times that I'd kind of overcome stuff by using these kind of methods, and then I realized that like I should really use the good parts of autism as like a springboard or a superpower or a battery or like an energy to propel myself to do things good, you know, in the world. So that's what I do, you know. So with the Aspie World, it's not so much like this glamour thing, you know. It's not so much me being vain. It's me trying to help people, and I feel like the Aspie World helps people when I'm sleeping, which is awesome because my videos are always going on and people, I get these comments all the time, and so my relationship now is that I can, you know, it's good because I can use it to help other people, and I love that.
Thank you very much. So that's my 5 questions for you.
Cool, no worries. Thanks for asking me the questions.
Thank you very much. Bye.